This is the Adjutant, and today I want to talk to you about the biggest military retirement mistakes nobody warned you about. Not the mistakes people think, not whether you pick BRS or High 3, not whether you invested enough into your TSP, not whether you bought enough rental properties. Those things matter, but that is not the mistake that quietly destroys people. No. The biggest mistake is retiring from the military without building a life you actually know how to live afterward. And my goodness, almost nobody talks honestly about this, because from the outside looking in, military retirement looks glorious. Ceremony, you got speeches, awards, photos, handshakes, everybody clapping, saying, "Congratulations, you made it, you're free." But what many people discover later is that retirement does not automatically create peace, it only creates space. And if you don't know who you are without the structure of the military, that silence can become very loud. You know something interesting? The military gives you an identity, whether you realize it or not. You wake up with purpose. You know where to be. You know your mission. You know your rank. You know your role. You know your tribe. There is rhythm to military life. Even the stress has structure. And then one day, it all stops. No morning formations, no emails, no soldiers, no office, no command climate, no meetings, no mission, and suddenly you're just sitting in a house somewhere wondering, who exactly am I now? That transition catches people off guard, especially high performers, especially leaders, especially people who spent 20, 25, 30 years being needed. And I have seen this happen repeatedly. People prepare financially for retirement, but not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually, and certainly not psychologically. You know what many retirees' secret struggle with? Loss of relevance. That is the part nobody says out loud. Because in uniform, people called you, needed you, respected you, consulted you. Your schedule mattered. Your decisions mattered. You had influence. And then retirement comes, and suddenly nobody calls anymore. Now listen carefully. I'm not saying military retirement is bad. Military retirement can be wonderful, but only if you transition intentionally. The key word is intentionally. Some people retire away from the military instead of retiring toward something meaningful. It's a huge difference, huge difference. If your only plan is, "I'm just tired," that is not a retirement strategy. That is exhaustion. And exhaustion eventually fades. Then what? Now you have 40 years left to live and no blueprint. And one of the greatest mistakes I see is people waiting until after retirement to start figuring out purpose. Folks, that is backwards. Purpose should be built before retirement, not after. You should already be developing interests, routines, friendships, goals, projects, health habits, income streams, and identity outside the uniform before the final out-processing date arrives. Because if the military is your entire identity, retirement can feel like death instead of a transition. And yes, I know that sounds strong, but for some people, that is exactly what it feels like. You spent decades becoming command sergeant major, colonel, first sergeant, captain, major, chief, senior NCO, and now you are standing in Home Depot at 10:30 in the morning wondering why you feel empty. Nobody prepared you for that emotional shift. And let me go even deeper, folks. Another major mistake is assuming your retirement income alone will create happiness. It will not. Money removes pressure, but it does not automatically create meaning. I have seen retirees with pensions, VA compensation, TSP balances, paid off homes, and they are still miserable. Why? Because they lost mission. Humans need mission, especially military people. You are trained to solve problems, lead, move, build, protect, guide, and all of that suddenly just poof, disappears overnight. The mind struggles. This is why some retirees become angry all the time, or depressed, or isolated, or obsessed with reliving their military years. But psychologically, they never transitioned. They only separated physically. Now, let me say something important here. There is absolutely nothing wrong with honoring your military service. You should honor it. Be proud of it. You earned that. But your best years do not have to be behind you. That is the lie military retirees accidentally believe, folks. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to become something new. You know what healthy retirement looks like to me? I'll tell you what. People ask me, I'm retired military, retired federal government, and all this other stuff. It's structure, it's purpose, it's health, it's peace, flexibility, meaningful relationships, financial stability, service without burnout, and enough freedom to actually enjoy your life. I am traveling around the world now. I started a YouTube channel. I'm getting my health down, and I've lost 50 pounds now and getting in the best shape of my life. This is success, not merely escaping work. And let us discuss another dangerous retirement mistake, neglecting health. My goodness, this is one enormous. Some people retire and immediately decline physically because the structure disappears. No PT expectations, no standards, no accountability. And suddenly everything slows down, your weight increases, your mobility decreases, energy drops, and before long, they are spending retirement managing preventable health crises instead of enjoying life. Folks, I just turned 61 on May 5th. That's right, a whole nation created a holiday to honor me, Cinco de Mayo. Just kidding. But May 5th, I turned 61. So you do not have to just let your health go away. I am now in better shape than I've been in probably 40 years. Okay? Now, please hear me carefully, folks. Your retirement years should not simply be survival years. They should be quality years. And that means your health strategy matters just as much as your financial strategy. Strength training, walking, mobility, sleep, nutrition, stress management. Folks, I avoid stress like a plague. If I see drama, I avoid it. If I smell trauma, I avoid it, right? Those things matter a lot. Another mistake nobody warned people about, retiring without rebuilding community. Military life creates forced community. You are surrounded by people constantly, shared suffering, shared language, shared culture. You know, even if I serve with folks from the hills of West Virginia to Compton, California, and the southern folks of South Carolina, as they say, South Carolina, shared mission. Civilian life is different, okay? Very different. You may discover that friendships now require intentional effort. And if you isolate yourself, retirement can become very lonely. That loneliness sneaks up on people, especially men. So part of retirement planning should include community, brotherhood, mentorship, family connection, faith, social engagement, and meaningful conversation. Now, do not underestimate how important that is. I'm going to be traveling the world. I just got back from Vietnam, went to Thailand, going to Africa, going to Brazil, going around the world, meeting folks of all walks of life, okay? So, again, do not understand how important that is. And let me talk about my high achievers for a moment. You know who you are? Shout out to my high achievers. Some of you are terrified to slow down. because achievement became your coping mechanism. Value became tied to your productivity, to rank, to accomplishments, to performance. So when retirement removes the scoreboard, you feel lost. But hear me carefully, folks. All right, hear me carefully. Your value was never limited to your rank. You were always more than your title. Retirement is not the end of usefulness. It is simply the end of one chapter. And honestly, for many people, the next chapter becomes healthier than the previous one. It's more peaceful. It's more intentional, more human. Because now you finally have the time to think, time to breathe, time to reconnect with yourself. But again, that only happens if you transition intentionally. So what should military members actually do? All right. Told you all the issues. Here's my advice. Start designing your post-military identity early, not 6 months before retirement, years before. Second, build routines outside of the military now. Hobbies, fitness, travel, reading, businesses, mentorship, voluntarily. Build a life. Folks, before I retired from the federal government, I started my YouTube channel. And I'm like, what in the world am I going to do after I retire? I'm retired military, retired from the federal government. What am I going to do? Well, I was a college professor. I was a leader in the military, a leader in the VA, a leader in the... So I love teaching. I love instructing. So what can I do? Use the knowledge that I've gained over the years and give it to you guys for free. It's all free. You get knowledge. You get knowledge. Everybody gets this knowledge, to go out and do great things. Third, protect your health aggressively, folks, because retirement without health becomes limitation. I tell you what, I don't care all the injuries I sustained in the military. You want to always be the best version of yourself. You want to develop yourself financial flexibility, not just income, flexibility. There's a difference. Now, in fifth or five, you want to understand that peace is a skill. Many military members, folks, lived in high alert mode for decades. You may actually need time to relearn calmness. I tell you what, when I was in Thailand and Vietnam, I didn't realize how calm or lack of calm was in my life, all right? And finally, understand this truth, all right? Retirement is not supposed to be an escape from life. It is supposed to be a transition into a more intentional one. That is the mindset shift. And if you can understand that before retirement, you'll place yourself far ahead of most people. Because the biggest military retirement mistake nobody warned you about is believing retirement itself is the finish line. It is not. It is simply the beginning of a completely different mission. And so there you have it. I hope this has been helpful. This is the Adjutant, and I'll see you in the next one. I wish you all blessings and blessings. Shalom.